Right. So the Black Stars are finally out of the qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations 2025. So we can say that at long last, the battle has ended, and thus your beloved Black Stars is out of the race to qualify for the AFCON 2025 to be hosted by Morocco. The game ended 1-0. Ghana scored first through a beautiful free kick, expectedly taken by Jordan Pierre Ayew, who was the captain for the day. And then the Angolans came back very strong in the second half, found the equalizer. In fact, they even had a penalty in the first half that was saved by goalkeeper Abdul Manaf Nuruddin. And then in the second half, they kept piling the pressure, and it paid off when they found the equalizer. They had two great chances to increase the tally or to have won the game, but unfortunately, they were unable to score. And so Ghana, as we speak, we are on 3 points from 5 games. That is from a possible 15 points. The Black Stars have picked 3 points. That is a failure. It is not just a failure. It is embarrassing that we've picked only 3 points out of a possible 15 points. Now let's look at how the Black Stars lined up in today's game. It is important that we find out how the Black Stars line up, and then we'll just oppose that and do the critical analysis of the tactics, the tactical review, and then we want to look at individual players in today's game. And so the team lined up in a typical three-back system with only one typical centre back in that three-back system. This is how Ghana lined up. Goalkeeper Abdul Manaf Nuruddin was in post. And then on the right side, we had to deploy a midfielder on the right side. On the left side, we needed to deploy a winger. And then we played three defenders as the back three. Razak Simpson of Nations FC. I'm sure he's the talk of town. Razak Simpson. He stole the show today for the Black Stars of Ghana. He did extremely well in today's game. Razak Simpson of Nations FC played in the center of the three backs. On his left-hand side was Gideon Mensah, and on the right side was Alidu Seidu. In front of them, the coach paraded Elisha Owusu and Suleimana of Atlanta. Then, also in front of the two pivot, we had Kudus Mohamed. Then, up front proper, we had three players. And the captain for today's game, yes, he led the lines. That is Jordan Pierre Ayew. So we had Jordan Ayew. Then there was this player, yes, up front we had Beidou. And then we tried to use a certain system that was expected to give us a lot of dominance in the middle. But unfortunately, the Black Stars were unable to do that. Now let's look at the tactical aspect of the game, and we do the tactical review. The coach of the Black Stars of Ghana paraded a team that ought to have had a lot of attackers. So let me run you by the lineup again. Abdul Manaf Nuruddin was in post. Alidu Seidu, Razak Simpson, Kingsley Schindler, Abdul Fattah Isaku, Jordan Ayew, Muhammad Kudus, Ibrahim Suleimana, Gideon Mensah, Elisha Owusu, and Michael Beidou. That is how the coach set up the team in this particular game. Yes, players who came from the bench were, we saw the likes of so from the bench we had Ransford Yeboah, Kenneth Doffer. He came from the bench. Osman Bukari, Ernest Yama. These are all wingers and attackers who came into the game to try to help out things. Now I can tell you that from the onset, the three-back system seems to be working because the Angolans were cut out. Their strength on the wings, we were not seeing it, and so we can say that right from the onset, the Black Stars seem to have had an antidote to tame the Angolans. And when Jordan Ayew scored that free kick, when he scored that free kick, the game was still in the hands of the Black Stars of Ghana. Yes, it was quite shocking that Pedro Congalves and his boys were in sixes and sevens, especially in the first 30 minutes of the game. They came in very strong where they won that penalty, and Nuruddin saved that particular penalty. But I think Otto has issues to answer. Otto has a lot to learn. You and I know, we are being factual that Otto is not up there. Otto is not near where we can say he's a top-notch coach. But then he has a lot to learn, because in this particular game, when Ghana were leading by a goal to nil in the second half, Otto should have brought on attackers to take off. I think Suleimana. He was obviously not too much in the game. So you are playing a game where you need a win. And for those of you who listen to me today on Akoma's Pulse, I said it that in this particular game, Ghana ought to be chasing for a win, because we need a win to keep our hopes of qualifying alive. So for the Palancas Negras of Angola, they have already qualified, they have already won the group. The motivation to play is not that much for them. The only thing they wanted to do was to avoid a defeat at home. So if we had a goal, and then you check the midfield, in our midfield, it was clear that we were playing Ibrahim Suleimana and we were playing Elisha Owusu. So after the second half, where we had played 15 minutes or so, the coach ought to have taken one of the pivot out. You take one of the holding midfielders out, you bring in an attacking midfielder, and you go to the bench. With the attacking midfielders, we had the options on the bench. So even with Ranford Yeboah Kenneth-Dorfer, if you want to bring in Kenneth-Dorfer, you must not take out Beidou, who is an attacker, because we have a clear attacking intent. We intend to win this game. What you ought to do is to bring in a player who also has a lot to offer in terms of going forward. Then you take out one of the holding midfielders, but the coach refused to do that. And so our game was still stuck. And when the Angolan, the Palancas Negras, took over the game and they started attacking us, they started pushing the game to us, it was clear that we had no antidote to their game plan. You know, when they started pushing us and pushing us and pushing us, it was clear that they could have won the game if they had attached a lot of agency to their play. Let me say that Nuruddin, for me, I'll rate him better than our usual goalkeeper, Atizigi. Atizigi normally wouldn't be coming out on those occasions that they had that one-on-one, 1v1 situations where the goalkeeper had to come out. On one occasion, he committed a tactical foul and he was yellow carded, and that saved us from going down. It was a tactical foul. He decided to sacrifice himself for the team. He took that yellow card to save the team. The ball resulted in a free kick that they could not score. But kudos to Razak Simpson. All plunders go out to Razak Simpson. He was a great ambassador to the Ghana Premier League. He was a great ambassador to our local game. He distinguished himself with the kind of football that he showed out today. At the back, it was clear that Razak Simpson was the standout performer. In fact, maybe, just maybe, because Jordan scored that particular free kick, we can say Jordan can struggle with Razak Simpson for who becomes the man of the match on Ghana's side. But for me and for my money, I'll choose Razak Simpson as the man of the match. The first time he was playing at this level, and clearly he stole the show. He was commanding the match. At a point, you saw him trying to even inspire our top players who have been playing in Europe for all this while. That boy from Nations, but he showed it at the bastard. Kudos to him, and kudos to the other young boys who tried to continue their contact. Not a problem. Our problem is tactical. We don't have a problem with the quality of our players. It is a tactical problem. The coach is not good enough. We are so Black Stars finally out of contention, and we have no opportunity whatsoever to qualify. We are out of the qualifying race for the 2025 African Cup of Nations. That's quite unfortunate, but that is what it is. It is what it is. Thank you for for watching us. We are grateful as usual.